Mr. Quinlan served variously as Executive Vice President of Operations, of Business Integration, and of the Office of the Chief Executive and Treasurer. At Moore Wallace, he had primary responsibility for the integration of, again that word integration, of Moore Corporation Limited and Wallace Computer Services. He also had responsibility for all of Moore Wallace's sales, manufacturing, and all corporate staff functions. From 1994 until 1999 at World Color Press, he served in various finance capacities, including as Senior Vice President and Treasurer. He has previous finance and treasury experience at Walter Industries, Marshall McLennan, and Kidder Peabody. Mr. Quinlan holds an MBA in Finance from St. John's University, and as the Dean said at lunch, we forgive him of that, and a BBA from the Lubin School of Business at Pace University, which also conferred upon him an honorary doctorate of commercial science in 2009. The same year, he was the honoree at Pace University's annual Leaders in Management dinner. He's active in supporting organizations that focus on literacy, health, and development, and serves as a director and member of the Executive Committee for the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. We're delighted to have him here again with us today and look forward to a conversation regarding leadership and reputation. So without further delay, please help me welcome Thomas J. Quinlan.
Can everyone hear me if I don't use the microphone?
No.
Okay. Show of hands so I know who we have here today. How many people here are graduate students?
Graduate students?
Thank you. So, just one? You can raise your hand. How many people are undergraduate students? People that didn't raise their hands, I'll just assume you came in off the streets. Thank you, Barbara, for that nice introduction. I appreciate it. That all sounds good. Understand that I stand here before you today, and I used to sit where you sit. So think about that. That's kind of interesting, I would think. You got somebody who went to your school, sat in the same classrooms that you sat in, ate the same great food, that cafeteria that I recognized. John Street, when I went here, the Seaport was just opening up. There was a place called Jeremy's, which I thought was a library, which I found out was really a bar. It wasn't a bad place to go to on certain afternoons, on nice afternoons in the spring. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes with you, 15 minutes with you, running through what it is that Barbara talked to you about. How many finance majors are here? Put your hands up high. How many finance majors are here? Good. How many marketing? What else do we have? Yell it out if I didn't know. What else are you?
Accounting.
I count that as finance. I'll probably get yelled at for that. I count that as finance. So good. We'll run through and see what it is. This is your day. So this is your hour. I'm going to talk for a little bit, then we're going to make it interactive and take all your questions. And I know you're not a bashful group because you go here. So this will be, hopefully it'll be fun. Hopefully you'll get something out of it as much as I will. R.R. Donnelley, I'll give you an overview of R.R. Donnelley, 145 years old. Our history goes back to where, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about reputation as well as leadership at the same time. The individual, Robert Donnelley, started it, again, over 145 years ago. And you think about all the issues that we've got in the world today that we're faced with. This gentleman started a company where the company then burned down during the Great Fire of Chicago. Lost everything. All he had on his back was a his jacket that somebody had given to him. So it was founded in 1864. Again, the Great Chicago Fire knocked out a lot of businesses, did a lot of damage. Donnelley was not immune from that. This document, which is tough to see, was a reference from customers that said, hey, we trust him to go ahead and borrow money. So think about that. He worked all his life to build a business. Business burns down. He takes a train, borrows money to take a train to come to New York, comes to Wall Street with one piece of paper based on his reputation to go ahead and say, please, can you give me a loan to start my business back up? Today, this business, and I like the extra billion, I'll take that if I can get it, but we're about $10 billion of sales. All of my salespeople are trying to get us up to 11. We've got capital expenditures. We've spent over $1.8 billion this past 5 years. which is not insignificant for anybody. We reach about 40 countries. We're in 14 different time zones. We're in Asia. We're in Latin America, obviously Europe and Canada. And we've got 55,000, a little bit north now, 55,000 employees worldwide. So think about that. I mean, every day, if you, whatever stadium or arena that you want to think about, that's how many people directly touch our dial. The way I look at it is each one of those 55,000 people have 5 dependents nowadays. Whether it's your spouse, your significant other, your friend, your partner, you've got parents, grandparents, you've got children. So, you know, times that by 5, and you're close to almost 300,000 people directly are impacted on a daily basis from what we do. Add vendors to that list, and you're probably north of 1 million people on a day are hoping that, you know, we as a management team make the right decisions because it's going to directly impact their way of living. Again, it used to be easy to say what we do. We're a printer. That used to be simple. And everybody used to say, okay, we get that. Now that's changed because of technology. How many people here are on Twitter? Nobody. Wow. How many people here go ahead and have Google? Looked at that at all the last 6 months. Okay, that's a little bit. Call the people up that run Twitter and tell them to get over here. It's a world that's changing, and it's a world that where can companies, where can retailers, where can marketers reach you? How are they going to get their content into your hands? What are they going to do? You know, how are you going to receive that content? You learn completely different than the way I learn. You multitask every day. You can be on the phone. You can have your laptop in front of you. You can be Skyping all at once and doing all these great things. Not the way that I grew up. So your intake, your knowledge base is processes things differently than what I'll say the way me or my generation did. That's a big impact. Now there's 180 million websites out there. Do those banner ads capture your imagination, or is it a printed product that captures your imagination to go ahead and force you to go to that electronic mechanism, whether it's an iPad, a BlackBerry, your laptop, your cell phone, whatever it may be. Books, again, some of these you know of. As I talked about at lunch, Stephanie Meyer, I sent her cards and thanked her. She was a bigger hit than Harry Potter by multiples. So think about that, what that's done. Some more, I think, hope she's sitting down at her typewriter or keypad and bang out some more good books there. Dan Brownlaw's symbol. Here, what we call, I call a barcode as coming into where you can basically click on that. And most of you probably know this already, but you can click on that, and then that takes you to a website. So again, technology within a book is starting to take place. Catalogs, again, we touch more than 50% of the standard mail in the United States of America. USPS and us are very close to each other. FedEx, UPS, DHL used to be in the game. They're no longer there. Us. Somehow, some way, we're coming to your doorstep with USPS on a daily basis. Catalogs, though, they've become more personalized. So if you receive mail, it's no longer, Dear John or Dear Jane. They've got your name. They know your buying habits. We talked earlier about logarithms and what's happening from the standpoint of what good retailers are doing. They're marketing you in ways that they could never have imagined before. They know all that you buy. They know what your likes are. These cell phones that you walk around and these BlackBerries that you walk around with, there's companies that know where you are at all times. You may think that's not right, you may think that's wrong, but they know where you are based on your activity. They know what stores you may be walking into, may be walking out of. When you click on certain screens, they know what the next screen is that you will probably click on because of all the data and all the studies that they've done. Again, how many people have a Facebook page? Be careful of what pictures you put on those Facebook pages. Okay, because crazy people like me and when we go to interview for kids, students, we look at them, okay, where we can. You just make sure you always, whatever you're going to put there, make sure you know the whole world's going to see or your parents are going to see. That's critical. I may not say anything else today that may mean a darn thing to you. That's critical, okay? Because of the way information today is being gathered. Magazines, again, where are magazines going? Or they're no longer needed. Magazines are going to be around. They're going to be different. Books are going to be around. They're going to be different. Again, Digimat that we've got, making it so that you can actually turn pages when you're reading it on your iPad, or you're reading it on your Kindle, whatever it may be. The Kindle has dropped so quickly because the iPad's out now. It's like the Kindle's outdated. And the iPad will be outdated within 6 months to a year because there'll be something else that will be out there. The thing that's really going to blow you away as you go through this is the software. The software is becoming more interactive. The software is becoming audio, visual. You can click on it to go ahead and describe a word. You can get the definition of a word. It can take you to another website. Those are great as you think about it. So the device isn't going to be the main character that's going to lead the way. It's going to be the software that they're going to be able to put on those devices. Commercial printing, lenticular, as you can see there with the calibrate symbol, that's print. And again, that's lenticular. So that moves. As you move the page, that's going to move with you. Up there on the left-hand side of the TBS, very funny, we're responsible for the Oscars as far as taking the movies that are going to be reviewed by the judges. We package that up and we send that out to the judges. Again, it's kidding, fulfillment. It's more than just ink on paper. Direct mail pieces, Netflix, which I know you're all familiar with. Again, it used to be called junk mail, whatever else nice name, not nice names are saying. This has become a key component to what goes on for marketers today. And the packaging of it, the colors that they use, all of that is key to them hoping to get you to go ahead and purchase something. Again, going back to personalization of pearls, you can have your own website. And what some marketers do is they'll put your name and they'll put Tom Quinlan under a pearl. And then when I click on it, I'll be able to see all the things that they think that I like. They think that I'm going to buy. They think that I'm interested in. And again, focus groups, studies have shown that there's a good chance that the return on investment that that company's making because they put that in is going to be higher than a return on investment that if they don't do it. So there's a cost, but there's also a benefit to it. Trans-promo, look at your bills, your telephone bills that you get, look at whatever it may be. You're going to see more and more advertising on those. You're going to see that every single space on that bill is taken up with some type of advertising. The font's getting a lot smaller on the bill, so they can put other things on it. They can cut down the pages. That saves money for people. We're involved with going ahead and say, okay, what else can be advertised on your bill? What else can we do? Your colors, if it's Coca-Cola, it's got to be that bright red. UPS with the brand. All those things come into play that we have to handle with our customers to make sure that their branding, their marketing, their identification is what they want it to be. Financial services, again, Google, we participate in the financial market, in IPOs, the debt capital raising that takes place. The S4s, the 8Ks for your accounting majors that you know. Anybody have any idea what's on the right-hand side before I click on it? Yell it out. Anybody? It's the virtual data room. Okay? It's a room that nobody has to go to. That comes into play now. So that you've got people that don't have to leave their desk to work on a transaction. So if you wanted to work on an IPO, you wanted to work on a secondary, you wanted to work on an S4, you could sit in your office at your location and go ahead and do that without having to go into somebody else's building to get all those documents. All those documents are stored for you and you can pull them down. Forms, labels, again, drug testing's become bigger and bigger, whatever it may be, on new jobs, whatever it may be. That form is probably a form that we did. Job applications might be a form that we did. Forms and labels are starting to come together. You see what UPS and FedEx are doing. It's one and the same. That's something that we're doing. Again, trying to take costs out of the system, compress their costs, but improve their return on investment. Logistics, as I said, we've touched more than 50% of the USPS mail in this country. We're in all the necessary drop-off points that you would want to be in so that we can get you that information the next day so we can get it to you within 24 hours. That is key. When you go on the computer and you go to somebody's website and you look to order something, some information about a product, whether it's a car company, a cruise, we know that you've got to get it within a certain amount of time or you're going to lose interest. It's a great thing. So we've got to be able to get that information, get that data, get that collateral material to you within 48 hours so that you still are interested in it. And when you get it, again, it's personalized, and it's because of what our logistics capabilities are that we're able to do that for you. Pre-media, as we go through that, you'll see some of the points there that we talked about. The last one I'll focus on as you read the others. Hewlett-Packard, which I know is a company you all know, we've got an alliance with them on building more technology in this area. So when you think of R.R. Donnelley, for those of you who didn't know us before today, you'll see that, look, we're playing with Hewlett-Packard, we're competing against Amazon, Google, IBM, Apple, as we talked about at lunch. All of these different operations companies are starting to get into our backyard, which I don't like. I like when it was just us and compete against other printers. And now we're competing against all these other people, which nobody compares us to. So it's brutal out there. It's hand-to-hand combat. But when you think about the previous side, you know, we were ranked 31st out of Information Suite top 500 for most innovative users of business technology. So again, you think about a printing company, you're not really associating that. Most people don't associate that with technology. And sort of wrapping up here in a couple of seconds, but again, this is sort of the tagline that we've been using for a period of time now. A global, collaborative provider of integrated communications. So whether you wanted hard copy, you want it through the net, or you want it virtual, we've got to be able to provide that to you. And so that's something that's our mission each and every day to figure that out. As I talked about at lunch again, I wake up every morning knowing that I've lost some business. And that stinks. Okay? As you get out there, you're going to see, you know, whether you're working for somebody who's got your own business, if in fact you know that something's going away because of technology substitution or because people are going to go, cancel it, that's big. So you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to look for ways to make sure that you take what you have and get the most out of it. And I think I'm fortunate to have a management team that everybody says they have the best. I truly believe I do have the best management team. Or else I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting if I didn't. I can tell you that much. And as we go through it each and every day, we've got to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. What's going to happen? Where are things going to be? We were in New York, as you can see, we're on the NASDAQ. There's a name there. That was kind of a fun day when we went over to New York. NASDAQ, we left the New York Stock Exchange. And for a couple of reasons. One was branding opportunity. When you think of printing, you think of the steel company, you think of an old line industry. So we wanted to go ahead and take that, get away from that standpoint. In addition to that, it was cheaper at the NASDAQ, and I got more business. So simple, basic things, sort of like apple pie and mother. Here's our locations. Everybody probably showed you a map, but this is pretty interesting, just the United States, as far as what our production facilities are. As you can see, we're located where people live. And that, again, wasn't due to any great decision that I made going back. People realize that, hey, you want to be close to where the customers are. You know, you don't see a lot in Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota. There's reasons for that. You know, we ship into those areas, but we don't need to have facilities in those areas. Globally, as you can see, Europe is dominating there. We're in Latin America and also in Asia. So in China, in Japan, and again, the opportunities there for us. We are the only company in China, only printer in China that owns their own facility. Again, I was fortunate enough for 30 years ago, someone made the decision in the organization that we should be in China. At that time,